How's everybody doing today? It is 10:02 on the fan here, 877-337-6666. Yeah, hold on, let me just double check. Yep, the quarterback carousel is still spinning.
Such a bizarre offseason with all of these
love
guys moving around.
It
creates content every day because you have so many ways to just speculate about what could and likely will or will not happen.
And by the way, none of it's responsible.
Of course it's not.
None of it's irresponsible.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You can just make up a hypothetical. What I'm going to do right now.
I
think the Giants are in control of this Daniel Jones situation, right? Because at the end of the day, all they have to do is say, we're going to franchise you. And then people will say, oh, it's going to screw up their cap. The cap is so fungible. Don't worry about the cap. The Giants are in control of this Daniel Jones situation. But I could make the argument that because of where the Giants are as a team, we know there's still some pieces that they need to fix here. Put in, upgrade the wide receiver, linebacker, get some more depth at the offensive line, etc. And you go look at the other team in this city, that is the New York Jets, and they need basically just a quarterback. they obviously need some depth on the offensive line. They need some other things.
Safety help here and there.
But they need a quarterback. And I could paint this very easily to what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to come out of his hole and he's going to say, you know what? Why would I leave Green Bay? Or why would I go to New York? I'm going to go to the Raiders. Derek Carr, who even though he hit it off with Robert Saleh, could say, you know what? New Orleans just kind of fits my style. I'm going to go down to New Orleans. Jimmy Garoppolo could sign with Tampa Bay because they have a team that he thinks, he can be a leader on and help them win. Follow the footsteps of Tom Brady, his boy, when they were both at New England. And the Jets could be stuck holding nothing, literally nothing. And it takes you back to a conversation we had 3 or 4 weeks ago, BT, when we kind of just flippantly flipped over it. You can make the argument that Daniel Jones is more valuable to the New York Jets than he is to the New York Giants. Now, hear me out. Now, I know it sounds crazy.
It doesn't sound that crazy.
Right? Because the Giants are not ready, put that in quotes, ready to win a Super Bowl. Could they? Of course. Anything could happen in the NFL. Anybody can go from worst to first. So anything could happen in the NFL. So Daniel Jones, to me, on the Giants, is probably not winning a Super Bowl next year. Daniel Jones on the Jets next year, if he keeps taking steps and keeps getting better, and Nathaniel Hackett makes him into follows the path that Brian Dable and those guys had him on, Daniel Jones on the New York Jets could maybe win them a Super Bowl.
Oh, Jimmy, we are officially at the lunacy stage of the quarterback conversation.
The point of bringing that out, BT, is that if the Jets get stuck with nobody,
which is possible, I'm with you on that. That's possible.
It could be a reality, BT.
Okay.
I'm serious.
A reality. Okay.
If they get stuck with nobody, the guy who's across the town, Daniel Jones, is more valuable to them than he is to the New York Giants, who have so many options of what they can do because, look, they didn't draft Daniel Jones, right? They've still got a lot of pieces they got to get in place before they're viable, before they can even beat the Eagles, right? So Daniel Jones makes a lot of sense for the Jets, as crazy as it sounds,
it doesn't
because I think
sound
he's
as
staying
crazy
with the
as you
Giants.
think. It doesn't, because his skill set matches what this team needs.
Yes.
What's crazy about it is that the only way they could get him is to give up the 2 first-round picks.
But isn't it worth it?
No, not for Daniel Jones.
He's 25.
I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks for Daniel Jones. Not a chance in hell.
25.
I'm not doing it. You can tell me the exact minute that he was born and the hospital. I like Daniel Jones. He ain't worth 2 first-round picks.
Okay, so
especially when I got Lamar Jackson tweeting away and Instagram and stories up there saying it looks like he's out of Baltimore. And now, if I'm giving up 2 first-round picks for anybody, I'm giving it for the dynamic Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
I'm not, and I like Jones. I'm not doing
Daniel Jones had 700 yards rushing last year, 7 rushing touchdowns.
I understand it.
Lamar Jackson played 12 Let
he also won an MVP a couple of years before.
That was a couple
one of the most
ago.
dynamic players in football. Listen, okay. Let me roll through this piece by piece.
Because the thing you're hung up on, because here's what's going to happen. Giants are going to franchise him.
Yes.
Right? If he's asking for $45 million, the Giants are going to say, all right, whatever, dude, we're franchising you.
Yep.
Right? And that means whoever wants to sign him is going to have to give up
If they do the non-exclusive.
They're not gonna exclusive franchise it. I mean, maybe they would.
I don't think so, but it is an option.
But if you do that, you're then starting the conversation at the 45
That's true
million.
too.
So
That's absolutely
I think they want to start the conversation. So they're going to non-exclusive franchise him.
Yep.
And some teams can swoop in and come take him. Now, the reason that the Jets, in your estimation, I know where you're going. I know how your mind thinks. We got to
only took you 10 years. Huh?
We got to save these draft picks, right? The draft picks, if you can trade a draft pick or two for a quarterback who could be your future, and you're desperate to win now as well as win in the future, Daniel Jones fits the mold.
He does.
He's the only one.
For the most part.
Lamar Jackson doesn't fit the mold because you're worried in the back of your mind, man, this kid's going to get hurt.
That's true.
Right? Aaron Rodgers doesn't even fit that mold because Aaron Rodgers is going to play for 2 years.
But you're not giving up 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers has already
you're giving
done
up something.
You're true. But Rodgers has already done what we're theorizing Jones has the ability to do. Now, that doesn't mean he can't do it. Again, I like Daniel Jones. So, all right, point by point. Rodgers not coming to the Jets.
Yeah.
I would say
Rodgers isn't in the conversation.
No, but I'm just saying, to me, to get to your point about Jones, I've got to go through other things I find more appealing. So Rodgers not being a Jet, I would say, to me, is less than 50%. Like slightly less. Like I think there's a good chance Rodgers is a Jet. I'm on the record. But if he's not,
I have no intel that tells me that.
But I think the Jets do. Because I think the Jets would be absolutely, it would be a dereliction of their duty to have some sort of intel on the most basic level. What he thinks. I've said this a million times.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can convince me that Joe Douglas and Woody Johnson don't know from somebody who knows somebody that knows Aaron Rodgers' line of thinking that can't give them a little sliver of direction to help them navigate this. Think about this. If Rodgers wants the Jets, don't you think it behooves Rodgers to tell somebody, to tell Woody, hey, listen, I know you got Carr in the building. Don't sign him. I'm coming out. So, so those are things that are in play to me. I honestly believe that. But let's say Rodgers doesn't come here. Now you move to Carr. I think Carr's playing us. I think Derek Carr, and I think we might be playing Carr a little bit too to incentivize Rodgers to get off his ass and out of his hole. So I don't think Derek Carr wants to come here. I don't think that Derek Carr will come here. I think Rodgers will, but to play Tiki's game, for now, Rodgers is not here. Now I get to the other options, and we've said it a million times. The Tannehills, the Bakers, the Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy in front of Baker for sure. I don't think, if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, why the hell do you go to Tampa outside of the fact that you're in a trash division? Tampa stinks.
Well, that's why, because you can win right away.
Yeah,
because the division
maybe
is terrible.
Go 8-9 like the Bucs did a year ago and win a division. I mean, they're going nowhere. Maybe he just wants to get paid. I don't know what he's really aspiring to do at this point. I still think that Jimmy would be very much from the Jets in play, and from his point of view, the Jets are in play. But let's say all this stuff doesn't happen, and everybody spurns the Jets, and the Jets are losers, and nobody wants a part of us, and we're up the creek without a paddle. I would, at this point, I would go back with Zach and Mike White.
Oh, come on.
Before I would give up 2 first-round picks.
Are you kidding?
For Daniel Jones.
What is wrong with you, dude?
I can reconcile giving Daniel Jones big money. That's not the issue. He's not worth 2 first-round picks.
Okay.
He's just not.
So, I mean, BT, if you have an option for a kid who was very good as a rookie, who was very good last year, even though the numbers aren't explosive, but he was very good last year.
And by the way, you say it when he was a rookie, like he was a rookie 2 years ago.
He was a rookie 3 years ago. I mean,
yeah, but still, context matters, Steve.
I know, but still,
it's a small print that gets you.
He had some stability coming into the league, coaching stability, and then all of a sudden it got very disruptive. And last year, he showed what he's like fully about when he doesn't turn the football over, and he can be an athlete, and he can throw the football. We know this. So he comes. So it's almost like he's learned how to be an NFL quarterback, and he's so moldable right now. It's why I don't want him to go. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not saying I want him to leave the New York Giants, but he's so moldable. He's almost like the perfect piece of clay. It's like perfectly damp. Right?
It's still
like,
pliable.
It's still pliable.
Yeah.
You can
like
move
when we make those volcanoes from the Discovery,
exactly.
the lava that we do at home with the kids. Yeah, it's still a little soft. It hasn't hardened yet.
You can get it
like this.
You can get it into any form that you want to. That's Daniel Jones right now.
I agree.
And so to me, he's the most exciting available quarterback this year, right? Derek Carr, you kind of feel like you know where his ceiling is. And I think you're right, BT. He probably is playing the Jets.
I really think he's playing us.
Aaron Rodgers is older. We don't know where his mind is. He's going to disappear here and there. Who knows if he can really handle the media in New York?
Oh, stop with that media narrative that you're creating.
I'm bringing it up because
he can't handle the big bad newspaper writers.
I'm bringing it up because I created
1960?
it. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a good quarterback.
He is.
He's not inspiring me. Right, Daniel Jones.
Is Daniel Jones that much better than Jimmy G? Do we really know that? I mean, I know that we're kind of going through all these names, and I'm not saying he's not a better athlete than Jimmy G.
He's been to a Super Bowl, so I can't.
I know. Well, but that doesn't mean that he's discernibly better because he also had a wide open receiver. If he hit him, it's a touchdown. They win the Super Bowl. Maybe Daniel Jones hits that.
Good point. And to beat the Packers, that year, he threw 7 passes.
Yes.
5 of 7. For 45 yards.
I like him.
230.
But I don't know that. I mean, if Jones is better, listen, Jones is more talented. I know he is
more talented.
But is he that much more talented? Where you 2 first-round picks? I think you need to realize what you're saying when you say give up 2 first-round picks.
Just hear me out for a second.
Okay.
So you're giving up. Let's start the picks as take them one by one. So you're giving up a first-round pick, which if you were going to draft a quarterback, you're going to do that anyways, right? So just imagine,
but I'm not paying him $45 million. But you have to incorporate that. Yes, I might be taking a quarterback with that first-round pick the Giants would get. Yeah, but that quarterback's on his first deal, not 45 large.
But the money is fungible, man.
You keep saying that, but not when you give it that kind of money.
It is, but the cap is going to go up. Like, I almost believe this is the best year. Just hear me out. This is the best year to sign a quarterback to a big deal because the cap, which was at 180, whatever it was, 190 something last year, bounced to 220 something for this. 224, I believe, is the exact number for this season. Next year, it's going to be 238. It's going to be close to 240. Right? So signing a quarterback this year makes it cheap in the subsequent years, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. So I know what you mean.
So I get where people are like obsessed with the money and the salary cap. It's going to mean nothing. Trust me. In a year from now, we're going to be having these conversations about what quarterbacks are making, and the guys that signed this year or even previous years, it's going to feel like nothing. So the money, I'm not worried about. I'm not putting my head around it. I know that there's $100 billion television collective, media rights deals that's coming into the National Football League. The cap, I'm not worried about.
Okay.
Right? So forget the cap. So just think about it from a draft pick situation. Daniel Jones is basically a seasoned first-round draft pick at this point. He's 25 years old, and so he's still young.
Yeah.
He's not 22, but he's 25 years old. He's a seasoned first-round draft pick. You get that for one of those draft picks. And then the other one, you don't worry about because you have everything you need. Like, you don't need another first-round draft pick. So to me, Daniel Jones, and this is what we started the premise on, is so much more valuable to the Jets if they get left standing in the wind with no clothes on than he is to the New York Giants. As much as I want him to stay with the New York Giants, he's more valuable to the Jets because I think the Jets are going to get left at the altar by all of these guys who are messing around with them. Well, I think you're right about that.
This is certainly an interesting conversation we're having. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney here on the Fan. We're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. By the way, shout out to our boy Gio. He was in rough shape this morning, so hopefully Greg got home safely. He's feeling all right. Let's get to you guys here. Evans and Warren. What's going on, Evan? How are you today, sir?
Tiki and Tierney, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
It's a real pleasure to talk to you guys.
Thanks for calling, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Real quick before I get to my car, Tiki, I talked to you before the season about the Steelers over/under 7.5. You remember talking about that?
I do.
You don't remember talking about that?
I absolutely do because this felt like the year that Mike Tomlin was not going to get it done. See, right?
I told you he would not be denied, and then better than that, last game of the year they were 8-8. I doubled down. I said he's not going under 500. Double my money.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Let's talk about Daniel Jones. Keep it moving. Let's go.
All right, real quick. Yeah, I was just thinking about Derek Carr. In all honesty, I think you guys have been listening a lot the last few days. You guys have been underselling the ceiling of Derek Carr. I mean, he was an MVP candidate just a couple of years ago. He ended up getting injured and couldn't play that first playoff game. I can't remember. I think somebody else ended up starting for him, but I think he's a great quarterback. The Jets have plenty of weapons, offense, defense. Use those picks. Get more players. You could draft another quarterback, throw a dartboard. Throw a dart at the quarterback dartboard because Jalen Hurts was, a second-round pick.
Yep.
You got all sorts of guys that are available. You sign Carr. You're right about the cap. It's going up the next couple of years. You give him a big deal, couple-year deal, and you go with what you got. You don't wait for Rodgers. He's coming out of that darkness after 4 days, and I don't think you want any part of it.
Yeah,
I think Carr's a good enough quarterback for the Jets. And real quick, Trevor Lawrence had the Kansas City Chiefs on the ropes.
Yeah.
Derek Carr in that same situation. They're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and they could be moving on.
Hey,
You're looking for one Super Bowl. Get it done.
Evan, you might be right, but the problem with Derek Carr is that he is a full free agent. He gets to pick where he's going. And so as much as we think he's a good fit for the New York Jets, we're speculating on this because there's a good chance Aaron Rodgers says, I have no interest in the Jets.
I don't see that happening.
Well, we don't know.
It could happen, but I don't see that.
I have no intel that
would really surprise me.
It would surprise me as well, but it could actually happen because Aaron Rodgers is fickle like that, right? Derek Carr, who was just here, hit it off, with Robert Saleh, apparently likes the organization, whatever. He could just say, what, I kind of like New Orleans a little bit better, right? He can go wherever he wants.
By the way, his former coach is there, Dennis Allen,
That's
first
right.
coach with the Raiders.
He can go wherever he wants. So you can't just assume that Derek Carr wants to be here because the Jets are willing to pay whatever they're going to pay in free agency. So Derek Carr is he's probably a bigger question mark because he can go wherever he wants, right? Aaron Rodgers has to be traded. Daniel Jones has to be acquired, via the transaction.
Same with Lamar.
The non-exclusive franchise tag situation. Lamar Jackson, he's likely going to be in that same situation. There's no way the Ravens are letting him go without having some sort of tag on him. So the only one that has full freedom to move around is Derek Carr, which makes it almost harder to get him, especially if he's just kind of playing one team to entice the other one.
Yeah, he's slow rolling the Jets. That's what I think. I thought Boomer made a really good point this morning. Driving in, I heard Boomer say about, from Carr's perspective, we're looking at it from our perspective. What would Carr do for us and how would he fit and blah, blah, blah. From Derek Carr's position, you're looking for stability. I mean, he's been a West Coast kid his entire life, going back to Fresno State. So for him
He grew up?
I believe he grew up out west.
Yeah,
he's definitely from somewhere out there. I think California, but definitely played collegiately and obviously in the NFL with Oakland and now Vegas. So if he were to make this 3,000-mile-ish trek here, he's doing so.
Yeah, Bakersfield.
There you go. With the notion, the faith, because you're not doing this if you don't have this conviction, that the Jets coaching staff will be here for a long time. And listen, if they go 6-11, he's fired.
By the way, that's the reality.
He's fired.
That's the reality of the Jets.
There will be nothing to discuss if Robert Saleh goes 6-11 or 7-10 or 5. He's out. He's done. It's over. So, and Joe Douglas might be next to him, depending upon what happens with the quarterback. So, if you're Derek Carr, outside of leverage and sheer intrigue, why would you come here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you wouldn't. You'd go somewhere that has a new head coach, or
maybe Carolina-ish,
or one that and
Saints,
like the Saints. So it's a lot of moving parts.
This is crazy.
It is crazy, but I stand by this, man. If Daniel Jones is the guy available, he's more valuable to the Jets than he is to the Giants, because the Giants, as you positioned yesterday, BT, could just say he's not our guy. We don't need to. I'm not overpaying for him, right? We got so many other things we got to do.
Mm-hmm. We like him, but
go ahead, Daniel Jones. We'll draft a guy and develop someone else.
Yep. 877-337-6666 is our number. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan. By the way, 12 noon hour today. Yankee tickets we'll give them away all week in the 12 o'clock hour here on Tiki and Tierney. And also, we'll give you a chance to qualify. This is a sweet trip. Going out to Tampa. A couple of nights, obviously go to some games, airfare, the hotel, the whole spiel. So we'll do that at 12 in the 12 o'clock hour. Get back to the calls as well. I mean, the Lamar Jackson Instagram post, that's a new variable here. This is just wild times. It's the wild, wild west of the quarterback market. And right now, the Jets are looking for one, and the Giants are hoping to hold on to one. Incredibly interesting.